Thanks for making the time to join us today. We're going to be discussing building your business for the Christmas trading season with Brian, who's the CEO of the Retail Doctor Group. So welcome, Brian. We've got half an hour, so please, my pleasure. So please put your any questions you have in the section below on the Q&A tab. ALNA's been working with Brian for quite some time now on our industry think tank since 2019. He's a wealth of knowledge on the retail sector. He's a go-to person, I think, in retail in Australia, both in Australia and overseas. So welcome, Brian. Thank you for giving us some of your valuable time again to have a chat with us.
Absolute pleasure, Ben. Hi to everyone. Again, I'll extend Ben's apology about this slower start this morning. And that's down to the fact that I'm not an expert in technical Zoom meetings. But anyway, we're into it now, so let's kick off.
Fantastic. So Brian, with this Christmas trading period coming off of the back of what has been certainly a more uncertain economic period, we've had interest rate rises with cost of living pressures. What are you seeing in the retail sector right now? How's it different to other Christmas trading periods, and how are these issues impacting our retail community?
It's certainly one of the first Christmases in my recent memory where there's caution amongst consumers. They're being, generally speaking, moving towards a value end of the market. In fact, the public retail companies' results have started to come out in the last few days. And where we're seeing the value end of retail, if you like, the deep discount stores and so forth, they're actually showing pretty good results. But they're all saying, and all retailers are saying, look, there's a more cautious customer. They're still spending. There was still record spending. And so it's record saving, beg your pardon. So they're still spending, but customers are generally a bit more cautious. They're looking for new, they're looking for fresh, they're looking for higher levels of service in stores. And so a little more demanding. They want to make their money last a bit longer. And so as retailers and as news agents, we need to be mindful of this Christmas that those consumers are looking for more bargains, more value, and a greater retail experience. All that said, the Christmas period is 30% of a classic retailer's calendar in terms of expenditure. So from Black Friday, that starts in a couple of weeks, through to mid-January clearance sales, 30% of all retail is done in that period. And foot traffic is roughly 30 to 40% of the year occurs in this window. So what I want to do with Ben's help today is talk about how some business fitness tips and how to add some value for you as news agents into this period.
No, thanks for that. So when we're sort of looking at those key steps that you see news agents and lottery retailers maybe needing to do to build value in their business this Christmas, where do we start?
I think the first thing is you really need to think about Christmas as what we would call showtime. You know, another acronym is it's the grand final of retail. So what does that mean? It means looking at the Christmas window as a very almost separate peak of the year. And it's challenging for many of us because we've all worked very hard through the year, and it's one last push to Christmas. I used to work for this chap, and he'd talk about Christmas is showtime. It's the time to bring the theatre back into the shop. It's the time to think about, well, if I plan it out now for 8 weeks to go, how many times will I be changing my windows? At least 6. How are my displays looking? Have I got really sharp displays that are going to keep enticing and attracting customers? In this cautious economy, we're going to have to bring more change, more freshness, more newness to our retail and news agent offer. So what some retailers do and news agents do is they say, we're going to have 6 or 4 campaigns, promotional campaigns. We're going to take a category and we're going to put it in the window. We're going to make sure that we're going to put it somewhere in the shop that marries to that. We're going to make sure all our lighting works. We're going to put our staff in Christmassy uniforms or outfits or Santa hats, and start to build this sense of theatre, even more theatre than you have. Put a little Christmas tree in the shop, make it feel Christmassy. But the real piece of advice is fresh and change, and keep it fresh. So, oh, and the other thing, and it'll be so obvious to us, won't it? But get all those lights working if you've got lights out. Keep the shop looking really crisp, but fresh, new. And then the next thing to think about in this 8 weeks is, what are my hero products? What do I really need to move this Christmas? What am I going to draw to customers' attention? And how am I going to move them from the front counter through the shop? So think of it as an absolute event calendar. Think of it as a promotional calendar. Think of yourself in the grand final, maximizing every opportunity. So there's some starting points.
And so when you're looking at the retail doctor group, when you're looking at a healthy newsagent or lottery retailer's business who you think is well prepared for this period, what do you see?
Oh, they've got a really clear offer on show. They're really clear about what their speciality is, Ben, what their point of difference is. And they're very, very obvious. You know, we have 3 seconds, as you've heard me say, to peel off into a newsagent or a shop when we're walking past that window. And there's some destination product in the mix. But really, this is the impulse period. Now, this is the period of year when we're buying for our friends, our family, our communities. And this is where impulse comes to the fore. Where I see, if you're carrying a few homewares, I see a really lovely range of homewares. And if I think about that, I'm going to come into your shop. So super clear. And equally, what's unclear sometimes is you'll see businesses, some newsagents, where they've got massive signs out the front, they've got a massive tickets, you know, they've got all these different things going on. One of the things I've learned over the years with visual merchandise is apples with apples. Be really strong in something, own the space. And own the space means if you've got a good homewares business or a good magazines business or cards or something that you've got in your mix that you really own, then be proud, be bold, and go for it. Don't spread it through the shop. Have it nice and strong. And customers go, wow, not only can I get my lottery ticket here, my magazines, I can get all my cards here, and I've got a fantastic present I could buy for someone. And you're really strong.
And so you talked a little bit about that sort of sometimes some retailers can look a bit confusing from the outside. So thinking about that and thinking about maybe that category that makes your business unique, something that you're a specialist in, that you're really catering to your local community. I suppose, how do you make that stand out, or how would you put a bit of a spin on that for Christmas that's, you know, different to how you might do it normally?
Well, I'd start turning the shop into something that looks a little as close as you can get to Santa's theatre, Christmas theatre. You know, I think you can start now to deck out the shop in some Christmas festivities. You can start to create a bit of fun and a bit of theatre, and I'll come back to fun. You know, start with a bit of a Christmas theme, as I've touched on, and really build those displays in the stores with great lighting, whatever you're unique and really great at in your general merchandise. Tell the world, be strong. Celebrate Christmas. You know, a lot of retailers don't celebrate what is a period of celebration. And give people and teach the staff about the features and benefits of the product, teach them about suggestive selling and all those things. And the Boost Your Business program, which is for the newsagents through ALNA, has some great online content about sales and service. And, you know, also have a think about your staff. What can you do to incentivize them around Christmas sales? And I'll come to that. Some of them are really tired. Can they have a little breather before the Christmas window? Get that energy back into the business. And for many of us, we're already very energetic in what has been a challenging year that I've touched on, but really build that theatre, that atmosphere. And Ben, I'll talk about some examples of that as we move through.
Thanks for that. I mean, you often talk about us getting stronger in our customer service, and also about you know, sales and measurements of sales and retail metrics. Why is that important, and what are some simple tips that members could consider in this sort of 8-week period?
By now, all your staff should know your products, all the features and benefits. They should know particularly what your campaign is for Christmas. If you've got, for example, puzzles, they should know the puzzles and the games very, very well. They should feel strong and confident about their ability to sell them, to offer them to customers. You know, it's interesting, when we do all the mystery shopping over the years, what we see, number one factor that stops sales is staff confidence, confidence in a product. Where was this product made? Where would it look good? How would it sell? How would it present? And so a lot of staff over the years tend not to suggest something because they don't feel confident. So one of the key steps is have a good staff roster already scheduled. Know who your best people in your teams are. Make sure they're front and center in the busy periods. Teach them the products, train them, and then train them some more. And really invest in your teams in this period as well. So whilst I talk about dressing up the shop, building out the stories and the products and the categories, equally invest in your people in this period. And also get some staff, when it's very busy, walking and talking with customers, actually in the shop. Have that human experience in the shop. That's a vital part of it as well.
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges is always, leading with, open questions and getting customers talking, and, being able to have staff who are confident to provide solutions to those customers. And I also think at Christmas, there's an element of convenience too that comes into it, because a lot of people are time poor. They've got a long list of things to do. Is it worth considering how we sort of, bundle up product and so on to provide convenient solutions, if you like, for, popular choices for customers? Or even something that I always like when I go into a retail store is where there's like a little personal note on a product, saying our most popular product and this is the reason why. That kind of thing, I think, is really helpful. It gives a lot of credibility to a product choice. Do you think those sorts of things make a difference?
Great suggestion. Oh, absolutely. They're great suggestions. And, you're sounding like the retail doctor with that one, Ben, and I agree entirely. It's the counter that's got Christmas gift ideas. It's something about staff selection, staff pick. It's about helping to educate that busy customer and give them confidence that you've got great knowledge, great product, and you understand them. And I think, that merchandise adjacencies, this goes with that. Make sure like products are with one another. Those bundled solutions for the time poor customer. Absolutely. I think that's important.
And given that we've sort of got that 8-week period, if you like, that we're out from Christmas now, when you're considering how to sort of best use that time, would you be looking at sort of having a bit of a calendar for your team to say, okay, this week we're going to push this particular product, that week we're going to push that one? Is it that kind of strategy that you're looking for?
Absolutely, it is. It's condensing down to that. So week one, our Christmas story is going to all be about giftware. And then the next campaign the week after is going to be about puzzles or whatever it is within your categories and your mix, really drawing them out. And when you do the puzzles, you'll have the puzzle gift ideas. You'll have the little tickets about, Sally and the team uses this puzzle and loves it for this reason, or the game, whatever it is. And it's dividing it into 8 weeks. And I'll talk a little bit about how to incentivize your staff to really play this great game of retail. So it is very much that. The next quick point I wanted to mention was, by now you've pretty well got your stock all sorted out. You know what you're bringing in for the Christmas period. Have good backup of hero product that's your main feature product, your replenishment. So you want to have all your supply channel pretty well sorted. Have your stock ready to go. The other comment I'd make is it's actually funnily enough, whilst it's a period in which we typically carry more stock, of course, we also want to try and declutter where we can. So, very much that customer that can see into the store, can see all the various areas, well lit, really clean as this photo is showing us. And people are able to easily navigate between fixtures. And each fixture is a story. So great retailers build stories. This is your opportunity for your Christmas story. So no out of stocks, no handwritten signage, super clear, super easy, very clear, with great backup of the lines you're really going to promote and work hard on.
And you touched on something there that I know we had in our article for members the other day, which was around obviously making sure that you're not restocking as much as possible during the day and having boxes and things in the store, trying to limit that to before you open the doors and in the evenings, so that the team can be completely focused on delivering that customer experience. Obviously, with increased foot traffic, that's even more important during this period of time.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we often suggest in this situation are zones. So zones of time. So there's a time to set the store up and to set it up again in the evening for the day after. And there is more work here. But then from 10:30 to 2:30 or whatever your roster schedule and your history of transactions tell you is the busiest time of your day, that's the show time for customers. So in the morning early, we're setting up the theatre, if you like. The shop opens, the stage curtains open up, and it's all hands on deck to give customers that wonderful experience and that wonderful choice of products that you're experts in. And then when that day comes towards a close, the last couple of hours of the day into the early evening is resetting up again. It's a very concentrated 8 weeks to maximize it. And so you'll have staff with specific roles, specific accountabilities. And then when it's showtime, it's all about customers, as you say, customers and sales.
Yep. And you touched on metrics before. I think you were going to have a chat to us about some of those metrics and how what is it that we're really trying to achieve during this period. I think you might have had a slide for that.
I do a little further on, but I'll just touch on it now if I may, and then may look back a little bit. Where I've seen this done very, very well over the years is that the retailer or the news agent says, in this period of the next 8 weeks, we're going to do X amount of sales, and they have a target. And then they divide that into each week, and they look at their classic customer transaction numbers. And then they divide it up and say, okay, of this target, week 1 of the 8 weeks, we're going to do 20%, let's say, or actually 10% of this. And they actually share it with their team that our target for the week is whatever that number is. And then they have a very gentle but fun competition amongst their team to see who's going to get the highest average transaction value, highest items per sale, the team results so that they're not cutting across each other. And they actually communicate this idea of a scorecard or a scoreboard, and they have genuine rewards for the team member that achieves it. So have highest average sale of the week, again, hypothetically might be $60. An employee gets $60 and the balance of $55. You shout them out to a meal and a movie or something like that. And you create this scoreboard and this competition because you see, ultimately, what matters most of all is our team's ability to convert those opportunities. So let's reward and have a competition, all leading up to this and very much in this grand final. The other thing I was going to touch on.
Terrific.
The other thing I was going to quickly touch on in the remaining time is have a think about those customers who are in your shop in this period. How are you going to bring them back? Now, you might have a New Year special or a New Year offer. you might put it in the old-fashioned bag stuff away. And I'll touch on CRM in a moment, but think of every opportunity when people come in is an opportunity for these customers to come back. Display your brand really proudly and prominently, not just on the outside of the shop, but if you can do it on the inside, if you can build that community brand, and Christmas is a great time to do that. Now, the slide I want to quickly touch on is, and in terms of returning, is customer relationship manager, or CRM program. It's challenging when it's super busy, but every chance you get to invite a customer onto your database, take that opportunity. If you've developed a loyalty program, bring them onto the loyalty program. And one of my little contests would be the individual staff member that signed up the most customers to go on the database. That would also be another little reward in this period. Now, the challenge is not to hold the process up of customers coming into the shop, but every opportunity you get, and then start to think about, well, what's my post-Christmas strategy to bring these customers back into the shop? And it might be sending them some form of EDM or some form of message, particularly your high-value repeating customers. It's great to see them at Christmas, and if they come back in January, come and see a new range of New Year product or whatever it might be, but inviting them back in. Considering it very much as if you're inviting your customers into your home. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but here's this idea of recognizing your staff, training them on Boost Your Business, which you've all got access to through ALNA, and providing your staff incentives. They should all have been pretty well through that sales and service type module and the visual merchandising type modules, including your part-timers, including your casuals. Build that scorecard, that rewarding highest average transaction value, things I've talked about. What about best customer service award as seen by yourself or by a customer's feedback? And what ideas when you get the team together coming into this 8 weeks, what are their ideas? We used to do this all the time. You'd ask staff and team members in a meeting, how are we going to make this Christmas our most amazing Christmas yet? Now, it's also how to think about partnerships with other retailers. You might, for example, have surprise fruit mince tarts or something from the bakery shop, something that cross-pollinates with other retailers, other businesses, that creates a bit of fun, a bit of theatre, and rewards your customers. What about that customer that's come to you 20 times in the last year to buy something from you? Reward them. Now, hopefully you know who they are on the CRM, but you'll also know a lot of them by sight. Reward them. It's a period of celebration. It's a period of reward. It's a period of theatre. Have some fun. The stores I've seen at Christmas time in all sorts of categories actually have fun. They don't take themselves too seriously. The staff are in Santa hats. There's a bit of jingling. There's a bit of sleigh bell music. There's a bit of clearly a Christmas theme. The windows have a bit of fun. They just want to break the attention of customers and potential customers walking by. When they look to the left or the right, they just see a bit of Christmas theatre. They go in and there's Christmas music playing. The store looks $1 million. And it's in that period. And the staff are laughing and having fun. And it's amazing how energizing that can be. So have some fun. Don't take the windows too seriously. Have a bit of, just fun. Just enjoy it.
Just a bit of humour.
Bit of humour. I mean, it's a tough year. Let's face it. It's a tough year for many of us. I could easily, as you've asked earlier, talk about how tough the economic conditions are. But isn't it amazing how, if we've got the motivation, we can turn our retail business into a bit of time out from all this. Make that time for your customer visiting you to be time well served. That they come out of there with a bit more human spirit, a bit more fun, and a bit of a laugh.
And,
Now,
and I think that's a really important point. I was talking yesterday on radio about magazines, and we were sort of talking about why we're actually seeing some growth there. And one of the things is that it's a relaxing experience. I mean, I think that's one thing that newsagents, social retailers do really well, is they create an experience that's, you know, browsable, can be relaxing, and there's a range of really good, authentic products that will give you some joy for a long period of time, and they're not terribly expensive. You know, you can spend $15 or $20 and you can get something which you're really going to enjoy for a period of time, and we shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. I touched on the people side of it too. You know, this is a period where we lead teams. I mean, all year round we do it, but we really need that heightened performance from our people. And this is just a very simple 3-store chart to give you a sense. And the numbers are just hypothetical, but the conversion rate's pretty accurate. So there's 3 stores with 600 customers traffic. Store A converts them at 15%, has an average sale of $45. There's its sales. Store B trains its people, uses Boost Your Business, and it lifts the conversion rate to 18%. Now, how does it do that? Good team members learn about product. They learn about customer service. They learn about selling. And they're able to ask great questions, and they're able to show people great product, and that conversion rate lifts. Now, that conversion rate of only 3% lifts for a 20% sales increase on the same number of people. So it's banked on the 3. What's that, sorry?
I said it's extraordinary, isn't it? Just 3% makes that big a difference.
Absolutely. So there it is. It puts another $350 or so forth, in this case, into the till with the same number of people. Now, Store C has maintained that conversion, but it's also focused a lot on in-store gift ideas, bundles, merchandise adjacencies. The team has been asked to really think about what are the products that go with another. And there we start to look at lifting average sale by 10%, which is often one extra item. And there's a 22% increase on the same traffic. So by doing both that, almost $2,000 is raised each week in this period and ongoing. So over a year, there's another $100,000 easily in this example on lifting that conversion rate, lifting that add-on sale rate, keeping that scorecard, and coaching our team members. And so much is within our control and our destiny if we apply these things, and no greater time than the Christmas 8-week window. Which leads me to one other point, if I may, Ben. I love this quote. The only thing worse than training employees and losing them is not training them and keeping them. And I really congratulate, it's a great quote, isn't it? And I really congratulate ALNA and the work done in Boost Your Business programs. We should be, through the year, spending an average of between 15 to 30 minutes per team member, particularly our management, each week, working on coaching them on average sale, items per sale, giving them some targets, giving team targets, and building towards the grand final of retail that we're quickly moving into. Retail is really, ultimately, it's a people business. And if we're not investing in our people, you can rest assured our customers won't be invested in. And that's really some of the key points around how to make this period, this year, this grand final successful. So Ben, I wanted to share those slides.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Brian. I really appreciate some of those insights. And I know we're a little bit over time, and apologies everybody for the slow start to today's webinar. I'm sure we'll get better for future webinars. But thank you again. Want to wish everybody that's on the line the best of luck working in your business this Christmas. I know it's a little bit more difficult time period, but as Brian's shown us, if we can work closely with our teams, we can skill them up. We can build on those sales, build the average basket size. It really makes a huge difference to the bottom line. So thank you for joining us again today. Thank you, Brian, and I look forward to having a chat with you again in the new year.
Thanks again, Ben, and to people who've come on board today. And again, apologies for the technical hitch, but I think the main message is really get theatrical with this, get into the campaigns, motivate, lead, and teach your team members, and give that customer a grand final experience. And thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone.